Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to introduce Julio Frenk today. Let me just try and show this first slide. Can I move back one, please? Okay. Julio was my boss and my mentor when I joined the WHO in 1999 under Director General Gro Harlem Brundtland from Norway. Julio led the Evidence and Information for Policy Cluster, which was entrusted with ensuring that the WHO and its work is firmly grounded in good science, evidence, data, and information. And this included the convening of a WHO advisory committee on health research. As Minister of Health of Mexico in 2004, Julio convened the Ministerial Summit on Health Research, where 21 ministers of health, 28 country delegations met in Mexico City, not to discuss health, but to discuss health research. Two important outputs of that summit. The first was a world report on knowledge for better health. The second, and most importantly, a World Health Assembly resolution in 2005, which requested that all WHO member states invest more resources in strengthening health systems globally. In these uncertain and turbulent times, when science is under attack everywhere, I am reminded with what Julio said during the summit, and which resonates for me personally until today. This is what he said. There is a pathway from good science to publication to evidence and to programs that work. In this way, research becomes an inherent part of problem solving and policy implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, Julio Frenk.
Good morning to everyone. Well, thank you very much, Tikki. You reminded me of a time when I had dark hair. Those were many years ago. We were indeed colleagues at the World Health Organization, and both Tikki Pang and I share a very deep commitment to global health and to education and research. I also want to salute Eric Israelian. We're very proud of Eric as a faculty member, but he's an extraordinary faculty member because not only he does that, but he organizes, he orchestrates. He's a multi-dimensional member of our community, and he mobilizes philanthropic support for some of the most consequential projects we're involved in. I am also very delighted to see and recognize two leaders for their vision in organizing ATOM. First President Armen Sarkisian, who you just heard from, and Vartan Sarkisian, whom you will hear from later, and who have really done so much for health and for development around the world. I also have many friends in the audience, and I salute you all with great affection. In particular, my dear friend Harvey Feinberg, wonderful career as Dean of the Harvard School of Public Health, Provost of Harvard University, President of the Institute of Medicine here, which he then converted into the National Academy of Medicine, and just retired as President of the Moore Foundation, one of the foundations most focused on supporting science in this country. The ATOM Forum is a chance for all of us to come together and connect. and not just to imagine, but to create the future. Innovators around the world are transforming healthcare and longevity. And we're delighted to welcome the many innovators who are gathered here today at this beautiful facility on our beautiful campus at UCLA on a beautiful day, which is still winter, so you can imagine what the real spring will look like. And I want to say that this forum is happening at the right place and at the right time, and let me say why. Just a short walk from here, scientists and health professionals are hard at work, turning ideas into experiments, turning discoveries into therapies, and turning hope into healing. They are the faculty, staff, and students who make UCLA's medical school and health system world-class. UCLA Health has ranked as one of the best academic health systems in the country, in the United States, for the past 36 years. It's consistently ranked the #1 hospital in California. As a comprehensive research university, the guide to our strategy here at UCLA is captured by the concept that actually was a little bit implicit in the slide that Tikki just showed. It's the concept of the circle of knowledge, which I think is what defines comprehensive research universities like UCLA. And it basically says that universities have only one product. It's only one, but it's an extremely powerful product. And the product is knowledge. Knowledge is the most powerful force for enlightened social transformation. Comprehensive universities are engaged in a circle that starts with the creation of new knowledge. That's what we do through research, scholarship, and artistic creation, because art is a way of knowing and giving meaning to life. It continues from the creation to the recreation of knowledge. This is what we do with education. Education is not just the transmission of knowledge, it's the recreation, the act of creating again the knowledge in the minds of the next generation. Many universities believe that that's their core mission, and it stops there. We believe that, along with many other universities, that our duty to society doesn't stop there. It has to include a third phase of the circle of knowledge, which is the translation of knowledge. Translation has two forms, into technologies and into evidence that then guides decision-making. When knowledge is translated, it can be utilized or applied. And we do that through the clinical services and other forms of application of knowledge, but most notably through our hospitals. When we do that, when we apply knowledge, we transform reality, and the circle starts anew. And good universities traverse the entire of that knowledge, good research universities. Our researchers here at UCLA had this long history of translating innovation into benefits for society, from cancer drugs to medical imaging, to the foundations of knowledge that lead to healthy lives. Last year, researchers at UCLA created 375 different inventions. That's more than one per day. 70% of those came from the David Geffen School of Medicine, which is an engine of entrepreneurship, and others from our splendid Samueli School of Engineering, literally across the street, our divisions of life sciences and physical sciences, which are at the forefront of basic research that's actively being translated, translating science into solutions. That innovation also comes from our graduate. Only a few months ago, Fred Ramsell, a UCLA alumnus, won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his research on the immune system, which is key to developing new therapies for conditions like arthritis, Crohn's disease, and multiple sclerosis. Now, discovery is gaining speed across our university and region, propelled by new technologies. Advances in AI, in quantum computing, in gene editing, and synthetic biology are changing our research landscape through a grand convergence of scientific and technological revolutions. Convergence happens when experts from many different fields in STEM and also in the social sciences, the humanities, and the arts join forces to solve the most complex problems. And that is exactly what comprehensive research universities make possible. One example of convergence is the UCLA Research Park, only literally 2 miles away from here. This unique space is creating a vibrant innovation ecosystem through vigorous partnerships with the private sector and philanthropists. The initial anchor projects at the UCLA Research Park are the California Institute for Immunology and Immunotherapy, the Quantum Innovation Hub, and the David Geffen School of Medicine, which will be carrying out clinical trials directly side by side with the labs where the fundamental research is being carried out. You will hear more about the California Institute for Immunology and Immunotherapy from Dr. Israelian, Dr. Ari Beldegrun, and Dr. Gary Michelson later today. Together with Mayor Luskin, who's also responsible for this conference center where we're enjoying our company today, Mayor Luskin, Sean Parker, and Michael Milken, they are making the UCLA Research Park possible. And I am grateful to them and all our benefactors for that commitment. Finally, that's about the place of the conference. But let me just end with a comment about the time. This is really an extraordinary time for UCLA for another reason. And I'm not going to talk about the challenges to scientific research. We're facing it head on. But in 2028, the Olympic and Paralympic Games will be hosted in Los Angeles, and UCLA, our campus, will be the site of the Olympic and Paralympic villages. The athletes will be here. In fact, we just had the enormous pride of one of our students winning the gold medal in figure skating at the Winter Olympics. But coming now in a couple of years, we will have that here. And that's a moment when the world's spotlight turns to Los Angeles and to our university as the home for the athletes. This campus will become a global focal point for crucial issues to this conference, like human performance, resilience, health, and well-being. So today's dialogue is happening exactly where it belongs, in a global city ready to showcase the possibilities of human potential. So as we look ahead, let's embody the Olympic values of excellence, friendship, and respect. Let's learn from our past to gain inspiration. Let's be present with others to foster imagination. And let's build a better future for nurturing innovation. Together, connected here today at the Atom Conference. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm sure we will all enjoy a very stimulating day. Thank you.